Systems Trust reported enrollment. Enrollment becomes manufactured fiction. Ghost Students, in theaters now.
We've been covering the chaos in Minnesota for weeks now, and tonight it just blew wide open. Representative Ilhan Omar claimed her son was pulled over by ICE agents after a Target run and asked for proof of citizenship. Now we're learning there's just one major problem with that whole thing. The Department of Homeland Security says it never happened. Zero record of it, no stop, no encounter, nothing. The Department of Homeland Security is now calling Omar's accusation shameful, a fabricated story to demonize federal law enforcement. And instead of apologizing, Omar doubled down. Of course she does. But this lie is only the tip of the iceberg in a state that is spiraling out of control. Now, here's what's at stake. You see, Minnesota isn't just dealing with one congresswoman's false accusation. The entire state is in open defiance of federal authority. Okay? Massive education fraud. This is breaking now. Ghost students siphoning millions in taxpayer dollars while Governor Tim Walz looked the other way. Ghost students? This is a new one. The Trump administration now formally demanding Walz resign. We told you about the resistance networks run by the state lawmakers, signal chats alerting illegal immigrants to ICE locations, free legal help, even grocery deliveries to help people evade federal agents. And now we have a sitting congresswoman facing fabricated stories about her own son to paint ICE as racist thugs. You see, this is coordinated. Omar's lie was not a mistake. It was a PR stunt. DHS called it exactly that, and the real-world consequences, they're dangerous. When elected officials spread false claims about law enforcement, they put agents at risk. I mean, we've already seen Somali crowds harassing ICE agents in Minneapolis. Omar's rhetoric fuels that fire. And some breaking news for your gut health this holiday season. While Minnesota politicians spread lies and chaos, your digestive system is taking a beating from holiday parties, rich foods, and stress. That is why you need Good Brew. It is the only probiotic. I take it every morning. It survives my hot morning coffee. The co-founder nearly called 911 when severe acid reflux caused food to lodge in his throat. Doctors wanted him on antacids for life. Instead, he discovered BC30 probiotic, and within a week, his reflux was gone. Every scoop delivers 1 billion CFUs of beneficial bacteria plus organic fiber. Again, I take one scoop every morning. No more post-party bloating, no more holiday heartburn. Right now, get a free travel size plus 10% off with code NEXTNEWS at goodbrew.com. That's goodbrew.com, GOODBRU.com. Survive this holiday season. Unlike Ilhan Omar, probably not going to survive this one because it gets worse. When reporters confronted Omar about the false ICE claim, what did she do? She refused to answer. It says she shot back that ICE has been known to lie. This from a woman who's faced years of questions about alleged marriage fraud and immigration fraud of her own. Meanwhile, whistleblowers are now coming forward exposing similar Somali fraud schemes. In Maine, NGOs charging taxpayers for services never performed, funneling money back where? Overseas. State Rep Alex Falconer is allegedly running a resistance network complete with signal chats, legal aid, and real-time ICE location tracking. Minnesota isn't just failing to cooperate with federal law enforcement, it's actively obstructing it. Now, here, Ilhan Omar, this was 7 hours ago, rapid response, 47 posts. This is Ilhan Omar on the Somali community in Minnesota. I'm gonna play it, and then I'm gonna tell you exactly the truth behind it, who they really are.
Doctors, no, we are doctors, we are teachers, we are entrepreneurs, and we are elected representatives of our state. And so these vile comments and this sort of creepy obsession that that he has on me and Somali Americans really is dangerous, and it's beneath the office of the presidency.
Beneath the office, but here's the funny part. She says, we're doctors, teachers, we're entrepreneurs. 80% of Somali immigrant households receive some form of welfare. That's an official statement from the White House Rapid Response X account. Here's a brutal moment. Independent journalist Nick Shirley, this came out just a couple minutes ago, confronts and grills a Minnesota Democrat state rep for letting Somalis commit rampant fraud under Tim Walz. Oh, yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Because that's what I heard you talk.
Yes, but I'm.
He has some very valid questions to ask about what's going on here in Minnesota. And do you think this fraud
I don't know who
crosses?
you are.
My name is Nick Shirley. Do you think this fraud is Republican or Democrat, or just facts that fraud is happening?
I think the fact that
Because
you're talking about it as a partisan issue.
well, because that's what I heard you talking about. That
I know what I said is that
because
what we're talking about is
we want to build trust, but fraud is fraud. So why should we be enabling fraud to happen here?
no, I don't think anybody is enabling fraud to
When are you
happen.
going to hold Governor Walz accountable for this?
Okay, sir.
No. This
Sir,
is not.
sir.
When are you going to hold Governor Walz? No. She is a representative for the state of Minnesota. Yes or no?
Excuse me.
Yes. Are you?
If you're going to talk to me like
Are
that,
you going to say to her, I'm a disability advocate?
I heard you, and
I get
you got a chance
overstimulated.
to testify.
Thank you for testifying today.
No.
Ma'am.
She needs to ask the questions because she represents.
The facts are the facts that fraud is happening here, and it's not a nonpartisan issue. How come you think fraud has been able to happen so much underneath?
I think if you've
government
been
here.
listening to our hearings, we've had now 10 hearings on this. And so there's really good data from the people who both work within the administration as well as who both Democrat and Republicans. I think what you
I really got to say my hat's off to Nick Shirley here. I really like his delivery. I like his presentation. I like how he asked the questions. He's very calm, very measured, and he just goes right through it all. Well done.
heard today is that the Republicans who control this committee are not actually interested in solving fraud. What they're interested in is telling a story.
This fraud has happened underneath Democrat leader Tim Walz.
There has been Medicaid fraud across the country under Democrats and Republicans. There's fraud within the Trump administration. We have is fraud. Private providers have made government a mark. And so every person running government, Democrats or Republicans, are dealing with the issue of how to keep fraudsters out of our public payment. We're also dealing with veterans. We're dealing with consumers. I hope you're looking at that. If you look at United Health currently.
I'm sorry. I get caught up in the production of things sometimes when I watch, because that's just my nature as a producer myself. That move when they exited the door was so slick. He did not skip a beat. He even opened the door for her with his back. And he kept going. Dude, this guy is smooth.
Is being charged with defrauding Medicare. You know who runs Medicare? President Trump. And so it isn't a partisan issue. The fact that you're trying to make it a partisan issue tells me you have an angle, which is fine. That's why I asked who you're with.
Well,
But
lot of fraud has happened here. Political correctness is
Governor
stopping.
Walz, President Trump, Governor, you look down the line, and I hope you're talking about that, because if you look at what CMS has put out, right, Medicaid fraud is a 50-state issue. Mm-hmm. And so, again, it is not a partisan issue. There are Democrats and Republicans who are sitting in that
It's a 50-state issue, and you're sitting in the one with the biggest case.
committee talking about it, but what you did here was the Republican chair say she's not turning information over to the one person in government who can stop payment, and I hope you print that.
Thank you for coming today.
Okay.
Crazy.
Well, you saw what happened
the
there?
state of Minnesota that we live in, and these politicians are just walking off thinking it's okay Tuesday, and they want to go visit the Trump, they want to blame the Trump administration. We have Democrats blaming ICE. I'm tired. My people are suffering. I'm scared for my little brother. My people are suffering, and these people just walk off. We have a government.
Wow. Well done on that one. 14 minutes ago, this was in Ilhan Omar. Members of the Somali community are ready to confront President Trump. Stephen Miller and ICE over policies blocking additional Somali immigration and enforcing deportations. Omar calls these measures racist, accuses Trump and Miller of white nationalism, vows to fight any restrictions on Somali migration or removal of Somali nationals. Well, good luck with that. You really don't, that's really not your jurisdiction. All right, your jurisdiction is where the fraud took place. President Trump's jurisdiction is all 50 states. So if Trump goes, yeah, shut down the immigration from Somalia and go find the ones who aren't here legally in Minnesota and send them back. That's entirely his rule of law. Yeah, good luck with that, girl. Here's another confrontation with Ilhan Omar. Refused to answer why she lied about ICE targeting her son.
Hello, Congresswoman Omar. DHS says they have no record of ICE pulling over your son. Why did you lie about ICE targeting your son? One more time. Why did you lie about ICE targeting your son, Congresswoman? Do you think it's responsible to lie about ICE targeting an individual in this time when domestic and Islamic terrorists are targeting ICE officials? Do you care to comment?
Do you care to comment? No, she only cares to run. Omar caught in a lie on CNN, of all places, about her son being profiled by ICE, says ICE has been known to lie. Says the one who lied about her marriage to her brother.
Their words. The Department of Homeland Security says, and I'm quoting them, ICE has absolutely zero record of its officers or agents pulling over Congresswoman Omar's son, and have accused you of seeking to, quote, demonize ICE as part of a PR stunt. Their words. What do you say to that?
Well, if ICE is saying that they have documentation of every single person that they have pulled over in Minneapolis, we would love to see that record, because we've certainly, myself and the governor, have been asking them to share information with us on the ways in which they have interacted with Minnesotans, and they have not been able to provide a single information. So it is amazing that they're able to put out this statement saying definitely that they did not pull my son over when they haven't been able to answer anything else. And ICE has been known to lie when it comes to their enforcement.
I know.
Man, ICE has been known to lie, she says. Don't trust ICE. Ilhan Omar in hot water, falsely claiming her son was pulled over by ICE agents after a Target run, lying through her teeth. And I want to get to the education fraud in Minnesota, because the fraud is so vast there. There are so many tentacles to the fraud. We're finding out this now. Linda McMahon just caught Minnesota engaging in massive education fraud, formally calls for Governor Tim Walz to resign for dereliction of duty. Ghost students received millions of taxpayer dollars and pocketed the cash. I implore you to resign and make way for more capable leadership. This is the letter that went to Governor Walz from the Secretary of Education. She writes, the integrity of America's federalist system, where governance is a partnership between national and state authorities, only works if state leaders uphold justice and common sense. When states abuse their authority to oversee free and fair elections, enforce criminal law, or distribute entitlements and other public benefits, the system of states' rights and liberties, that relationship of trust falls apart. You've been Minnesota's governor since 2019. During that time, your careless lack of oversight and abuse of the welfare system has attracted fraudsters from around the world, especially from Somalia, to establish a beachhead of criminality in our country. As President Trump put it, you have turned Minnesota into a fraudulent hub of money laundering activity. Damn. At the beginning of this year, the U.S. Department of Education became aware that fraudulent college applicants, especially concentrated in Minnesota, were gaming the federal post-secondary education system to collect money that was intended for young Americans to help them afford college. We call these fraudsters ghost students because they were not ID verified and often did not live in the United States, or they simply did not exist. In Minnesota, 1,834 ghost students were found to have received $12.5 million in taxpayer-funded grants and loans. Oh, my goodness. They collected checks from the federal government, shared a small portion of the money with college, and pocketed the rest without attending the college at all. To stop ghost students, we at the Department of Education implemented enhanced fraud controls, such as mandatory identity verification for certain first-time student applicants. Our new fraud prevention system now blocked more than $1 billion in attempted financial aid theft by fraudsters, including international fraud rings and AI bots pretending to be students. Oh, here's page 2. Even one of your state's top elected officials, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, has sought to take advantage of the federal taxpayer by advocating for broad student debt cancellation, which she's publicly acknowledged will benefit her directly. She borrowed tens of thousands of dollars to attend college as a politics major that she now does not think she should have to repay, despite her generous taxpayer-funded salary. My colleagues in other federal departments have uncovered the massive scandal of welfare fraud in Minnesota, where you have done absolutely nothing as governor to stop this criminal behavior. Scammers have gotten rich off federal housing, education, food stamps, and small business programs, even defrauding assistance for elder care and autistic children. Joining these criminals in their schemes have been Minnesota politicians who benefit both in votes and donations from the fraudsters' support, like radical Islamic terror groups overseas who receive Minnesota money to kill American service members. Minnesota's political elite has turned a blind eye and even helped facilitate the laundering of money that was meant to help America's least fortunate. Shame on you, Governor Walz, for allowing this to happen and for benefiting from it. Stop defrauding American taxpayers, and no politician is above the law. And my department, alongside every other agency under the leadership of President Trump, will continue to ensure that you will not be able to dodge accountability for your actions. Given your dereliction of the office entrusted to you by Minnesotans, I implore you to resign and make way for more capable leadership. Sincerely, Linda E. McMahon, U.S. Secretary of Education. Oh, yeah. That's a bombshell right there. It is all going down. Tim Walz, Ilhan Omar, Keith Ellison are directly tied to the enormous Somali fraud ring. Here is a brief report on that from Fox, connecting all the dots.
Subject to Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison. We see a web of connections between them and those directly involved in the fraud. For example, Ilhan Omar alleged enabling introducing the 2020 Meals Act, which was ultimately subject to fraud. Held a campaign victory party at the Safari restaurant. That's where one of the men who run that restaurant has associations to the convicted individuals. And then there's Tim Walz. House oversight investigation role in his role as governor, or Keith Ellison, the attorney general. His job is to enforce the law in Minnesota, but instead he's getting donations after meeting with the Feeding Our Future representatives. The Feeding Our Future, the biggest known yet part of this entire theft ring. Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison. We see a...
So it continues. It continues the investigation. We're going to keep tracking it because we have to. We want accountability. So let's put it all together. A congresswoman fabricates an ICE encounter to smear federal agents. The Department of Homeland Security publicly calls her a liar. The governor under federal investigation for massive fraud. State lawmakers are running underground networks to help illegal immigrants evade authorities, and mobs are harassing ICE agents in the streets. This is not dysfunction. This is a state in open rebellion against federal law. And the woman at the center of it all, Ilhan Omar, just got caught making it all up. So we've been telling you for weeks that Minnesota is ground zero for institutional collapse, and tonight proves it. You see, Ilhan Omar didn't misspeak. She didn't exaggerate. She fabricated a story about her own son to demonize ICE agents doing their jobs. DHS has zero record of the encounter that she described, none. And when confronted, she attacked the agency instead of correcting the record. This is a sitting member of Congress using her platform to spread disinformation that endangers federal officers. Meanwhile, Governor Walz facing fraud allegations. State lawmakers are running resistance cells, and taxpayer money is being stolen through ghost students and phantom services. Minnesota is not broken. It's an active defiance of the United States government. Now, the question is what happens next. So I will ask you directly. Should Ilhan Omar be immediately deported for her actions? Yes or no? Tell me in the comments. And while you're there, check out the Next News merch shop. You'll find it linked in the description.